Picture this: two women, a single shimmering target, and a countdown that grows louder, more insistent with every passing sunrise. If you aren't watching the WTA Tour right now, you're missing the kind of story that turns sane tennis fans into midnight gremlins, hunched over their phones, refreshing the same rankings page every 30 seconds as if sheer willpower could change the numbers. This isn't your typical head-to-head rivalry, the kind where two opponents stare each other down across one net. No, what is unfolding is far rarer and honestly far more dramatic. This is a asterisk proxy war fought across international borders, waged on the slow, unforgiving red clay of Europe. Every forehand winner, every double fault, every three-set gut punch sends a tremor through a leaderboard that will ultimately decide both of their fates at Roland Garros. The protagonists: on one side we have Alexandra Eala, the explosive young force from the Philippines who has spent this entire season quietly, methodically, dismantling every expectation placed in front of her. She's not just winning, she's making a statement. On the other, Raducanu, the British Grand Slam champion whose very name still echoes with the shockwaves of one of tennis's most stunning upsets, their current obsession. Cracking the top 32 before the French Open seeding cutoff slams shut like a steel trap. That's the prize, that's the pressure. Let's clear something up right now before we go any further. The question of whether either of these athletes will even be in the main draw at Roland Garros, that ship has sailed. It's old news. Eala's recent tear has already punched her ticket to Paris. The real fight, the one keeping both camps awake at night, the one generating hushed, tense phone calls between coaches, is the asterisk seeding race. Because here is the brutal, unvarnished truth of Grand Slam tennis: your ranking number is not just a label, it is armor, or it is a target. Land inside the top 32 and the draw itself wraps its arms around you like a protective parent. You will not face another seeded player until the third round at the absolute earliest. That means 2 whole matches, 2 chances to find your legs, to shake off the first-round nerves, to grow into the tournament and let the clay become your friend. That buffer, it's not a luxury at this level, it's oxygen, it's everything. Fall outside that line, even by a single cruel spot, and the gloves come off before you've even tied your shoelaces. The draw becomes a lottery you never wanted to enter. Your first-round opponent could be a top 10 gladiator. You could walk onto the hallowed ground of Philippe Chatrier for match 1 and find yourself staring across the net at the world number 1. No runway, no grace period, just survive or pack your bags. With the Roland Garros ranking cutoff hurtling toward us like an express train, the question of who lands where has become one of the most electric, unpredictable conversations in tennis. And what makes this story so deliciously compelling is the sheer, stark contrast in circumstances between these two women chasing the same white whale. Alexandra Eala is surfing a wave right now. She is out there week after week, tournament after tournament, accumulating points like a miser hoarding gold. She is logging match time, grinding through 3-setters, and building the kind of rhythm that clay court tennis rewards above almost any other skill. She is not waiting for the perfect moment. She is creating it, point by painful, glorious point, rally by lung-busting rally. Everything about her trajectory reads as forward momentum, a straight line pointing toward Paris. Raducanu's path, by contrast, looks completely different. Her talent is undeniable, proven at the highest altar of the sport. But in between, injuries, recovery periods, jarring, unsettling gaps in competitive match play that would make any lesser player crumble. She is being asked to do something genuinely brutal: perform at an elite level without the very fuel that elite performance runs on: match sharpness, live reps, the kind of competitive edge you simply cannot manufacture in a practice session, no matter how gifted you are. And the WTA ranking system, it does not hand out participation trophies for potential. It is a cold, mathematical ledger, a merciless accountant that cares only about what you did and exactly when you did it over a rolling 12-month window. It rewards consistency with the same ruthless logic it uses to punish absence. Miss time and the rankings eat you alive. Layered over all of this is the surface itself. And let's be honest, clay has an agenda of its own. Red clay is not just slow, it is a demanding, almost sentient beast. It filters out players who are not completely spiritually connected to their game. The ball sits up and taunts you. The points stretch out like marathon runs. If your footwork is even a millimeter off, if your timing is a fraction behind, the court exposes you like a spotlight in a dark room. You cannot bully clay into submission with pure power. You cannot blast your way through it. You have to earn it, shot by shot, rally by rally, building pressure and tolerating a level of physical discomfort that doesn't come naturally to players whose best tennis lives on faster, more forgiving surfaces. For Eala, clay is comfortable territory, a second home. Her game is built on baseline patience and the kind of physical endurance that clay demands as a baseline requirement. She can grind through 15-shot rallies without flinching, her breathing steady. She understands the secret geometry of the sliding forehand, the angles you construct from deep behind the baseline, the almost meditative patience you need before you finally pull the trigger. Raducanu's strengths, meanwhile, are real, but they point in a different direction entirely. She is electric on hard courts and grass, where flat hitting and fast twitch instincts pay off immediately and spectacularly. On clay, that natural instinct to short points and go for winners early can become a liability if it's not recalibrated on the fly. Adjusting your entire tactical identity in the middle of a tournament you desperately need to run deep in, that is not a small ask. That is one of the hardest things in professional tennis. Which brings us to the tournament where everything converges like storm clouds, the Italian Open in Rome. Rome is not just another stop on the calendar. It is the last best final major points opportunity before the Roland Garros cutoff. It functions as the final verdict, the judge and jury in this seeding race. Whatever happens on the Roman clay, every upset, every injury timeout, every clutch tiebreak, will echo all the way through Paris. For both players, the mandate could not be clearer. Eala needs a deep run, not a first-round win. Not a gutsy second-round exit after a tough draw. She needs to be there in the second week, grinding through the upper echelon of the WTA, banking the kind of heavy life-changing points that only come from a WTA 1000 quarterfinal or beyond. She has the tools. She has the momentum. The only question is whether she can convert both into cold, hard results when the pressure needle is buried in the red. For Raducanu, everything hinges on one word: timing. Not strategy, not physical fitness on paper, she matches up just fine. The real question is whether her match sharpness will arrive at exactly the moment the first ball is tossed in Rome. If it does, if she can reach back into the vault of that US Open champion, into the competitive fearlessness that once made the whole tennis world stop and stare, then this race becomes genuinely, deliciously wide open. But if she needs even one or two matches to find her rhythm, and those matches end in losses, then the seeding window may slam shut before she can even get her fingers around it. When you strip this whole picture down to its raw essentials, this battle is being decided on three invisible fronts: form, surface, and pressure. On form, Eala holds the edge, and clearly. Her recent trajectory has the clean, elegant shape of a player building toward something, not a player desperately searching for something. Every tournament she enters adds another layer of competitive confidence. She knows exactly how her body feels in a 2-hour clay court battle because she's been living inside those battles for weeks. On surface, Eala again has the structural advantage. Clay fits her game architecture like a custom-made glove, in ways it simply doesn't fit Raducanu's. That doesn't mean Raducanu can't win on clay, she obviously can. But the surface demands she play a slightly different game than the one that comes most naturally to her. That adaptation takes energy, time, and reps she simply has not had. On pressure, this is where the story gets genuinely open and genuinely fascinating. Raducanu has been in the cauldron before in a way that very few living players have. She won the US Open as a qualifier *. She has played in front of 40,000 screaming fans with a Grand Slam title on the line, and she kept her nerve cold. That mental architecture, that championship blueprint does not simply vanish. It lives in the bones, in the muscle memory, even when match play has been scarce. The challenge is rebuilding the competitive edge around it, sharpening the sword after months sitting in the scabbard. That is a real and meaningful challenge, make no mistake, but it is not impossible, not for a champion. Step back from the spreadsheet and the rankings math for a second. Think about what is actually at stake on either side of this battle. If Alexandra Eala lands inside the top 32 and walks into Roland Garros as a seeded player, this is not just a personal milestone. It is a seismic, ground-shaking moment for Philippine tennis. It plants a flag on the world's biggest clay court stage and announces, in capital letters, the Philippines belongs here. It tells a generation of young athletes watching from the other side of the world that the ceiling they thought existed, it was never a ceiling at all. That is not a small thing. That is the kind of moment sports history remembers for decades. And if Emma Raducanu defies the odds, fights through the rust, finds her game on the Roman clay, and secures her seeding, that would be one of the great comeback narratives of the entire season. It would prove loudly, publicly, and without a shred of doubt that elite talent combined with genuine, bone-deep competitive grit can still outrun the cold, heartless logic of a ranking spreadsheet. That is the beauty and the terror of this exact moment. Neither story is written yet. The ink is dry on nothing. Rome will write it, one match at a time, one sliding forehand at a time, one lung-burning, pressure-packed point at a time. Every practice session matters. Every first serve percentage matters. Every single moment where one of these players has to reach down into the darkest part of her reserves and find something extra when her body is screaming and the match is hanging by a thread, that matters. Because the rankings board does not care about what you are capable of. It does not care about your story, your excuses, or your potential. It only cares about what you actually, provably, verifiably do. And Rome is where the doing counts. Thank you for diving into this one with me. Watch Rome closely. Watch every result, every scoreline, every subtle shift in momentum. Watch the body language during changeovers, watch the eyes, because by the time the last ball lands in Italy, by the time the dust settles on that ancient Roman clay, we will know who walks into Roland Garros with the protective armor of a seed, and who walks in vulnerable, exposed, relying on nothing but raw talent and sheer nerve. Stay locked in. This chapter is just getting started, it's just getting started.